Hello. Hey guys, I am back with another video, and this time I wanted to try something a little bit different. I was talking with a friend and they mentioned how much they like video essays, and you know what? I like them too. So I decided that maybe I should make one, but what is there to talk about? I've been thinking a lot about music in general lately. It's just the idea of music as an art medium has come up a lot in conversations that I've had recently, so I thought that maybe I should talk about that. I do want to mention that this is actually my second attempt at making this video. I made one, but I don't think the points that I made were very good, and it was stupid. So yeah, this is my second attempt at making this video. Hopefully my points are a little bit more concise, better. But yeah, this is basically just a video giving a brief sort of overview on multiple topics of music that I think are relevant, just to talk about. This video is just sort of going to be a general little talk about music, about the schisms that sort of have arisen, not recently, but just in general about music and its integrity and the industry, all that good stuff. So yeah, let's get started. I'm going to start with the idea of a thesis. All good art have theses, thesaurus. For all the non-literary geniuses like me who did not take AP Lit, a thesis is a statement. A thesis is really just what a piece of art is trying to say. Not even just a piece of art, a piece of text. Shout out to my professor who taught me what text means. Contrary to popular belief, text does not mean words. This means words. This is monkey sign language for the words. Turns out, and I didn't know this before the class, but a text is any piece of, really it's any piece of a thesis. So a thesis is any text, and a text is any thesis. A little confusing, a little bit makes sense. Let's move on. When you boil it down, any song, if we're talking about music, any song, album, trap beat, any piece of music has a thesis. And the thesis is basically what that music is trying to say, what it does say, what it wants to say. Here's the thing. This video is going to have a lot of subjective themes within it. A lot of stuff that I'm going to talk about is very subjective, because I think that's sort of the thing about art. Art shouldn't be a lecture or a statement. It should be a conversation. It should be an ongoing conversation. And I think that the art that we perceive just instigates the conversation. Any song, any painting, any play is the beginning of a conversation, and it's supposed to make you contribute to that conversation. I've said conversation 5 times, so the conversation juice will appear. Beetlejuice reference. Now, because I'm getting into some very subjective things, I'm going to be trying my best to be objective about all of it. I'm not an expert on art or music or anything, so I don't want to try and come off like I know what I'm talking about entirely. But I do want to just put questions out there. Like I said, art is a conversation. I'm just trying to instigate a conversation. I'd love to hear you guys' responses and opinions on all this. Like, comment, subscribe. So yeah, I'm going to be trying to keep this as objective as possible. If I do make a subjective statement that's like my opinion or an opinion I've heard, I'm going to be sure to disclaim it and let you guys know that this is not like a fact. This is just my opinion. Or an opinion. Back to theses. Thesi. Thesaurus. I already made this joke. So where this gets subjective is that when you bring into question a thesis, I think for any piece of art, you sort of bring into question this idea of artistic merit. Now, artistic merit is the idea of value, how much value a piece of art has. And it's tough because I think that that's something that's very subjective. Again, art is subjective, value is subjective. Double jeopardy, what is we are subjective. The Office reference. In the first video I did about this, which I'm not going to release, I didn't even edit it all the way. Editing these things is hard. In the first draft of this video, I tried to compare two songs and evaluate their artistic merit. I'm not going to do that this time. I didn't do a good job at it. Like I said, I'm not an expert, and I just went for low-hanging fruit. I compared a song that has very, you know what, I'm going to be subjective, that has very dumb subject matter to a song that has very serious subject matter. I don't think that's smart. It was way too easy of a point to make, and I don't think I did a good job at making it anyways, so I'm not going to talk about specifics. I will say though that there is a general consensus about what music, what art is more valuable, and that is usually art that has a more personal, usually a more depressing connotation to it. I mean, think about it. Usually when you think of what art is idolized throughout history, it's more often than not art that is very heavy. Is that correct? Is it wrong? I've got no fucking clue. But that does seem to be the consensus. In my opinion, I'm not gonna say my opinion. Fuck you. I'm sorry. So yeah, I'm not gonna try and sound smart by comparing two songs and evaluating their artistic merit, saying this one is better, this one's worse. I'm not gonna do that. I don't know why I did a Patrick Star impression right there. But, like I said, art does seem to gravitate, what we consider art, seems to gravitate towards more personal and darker subject matter. Not even darker necessarily, but definitely harsher subject matter. Songs about depression, about breakups, about these very sad human things tend to be what we consider better art. That's really all I'm going to say on that point. Like I said, in the last draft of the video, I talked a lot more in depth about merit and what is merit, but honestly, I don't want to do that. I'm gonna sound stupid if I do that. Speaking of sounding stupid, I don't have a segue to this next topic, so I'm just gonna start talking about it. Talent. There's an artist that a lot of people I know really, really like. I'm not gonna mention names. I'm gonna do my best not to mention specific names in this video, just because I don't think it helps the point at all. And honestly, it only serves to rile people up. Fans of that person are gonna say, you fucking suck. Detractors of that person are gonna say, they're also gonna say you fucking suck, but for different reasons. Anyways, this artist is revered by a lot of people I know. Personally, I don't really get the hype. I get the hype. I don't buy into the hype. But I don't know if there's something I'm missing, so I usually ask these people, what is so great about this artist? And not like in a douchey way, like, what's so great about... insert the name of an artist you hate. I'm genuinely asking, what am I missing out on? What is so great about this artist? I usually get the same response. He's just like, super talented. Pro tip, if you ever want to deconstruct someone's argument entirely, just restate their opinion in a stupid voice. Though, really one of the reasons I remade this video is because I wanted to add this point, and I couldn't just tack it onto the end of the other one. And that is this question. What does talent mean? Not to sound like a douchebag yet again, but I went to an arts high school. It was a high school with departments for each specific type of art, such as dance, theater, represent, vocals, instrumental, and visual art. There might have been another one, I can't remember. This was like 2 years ago. I don't remember yesterday, dude. But I went to an arts high school, and to get in you had to audition, so everyone was super talented. And this really brought up the question a lot to me, what is talent? Obviously, you can just be better at something than someone else. I'm not gonna argue that like, there's no such thing as being better at someone. Again, Patrick Star voice means that that is wrong. You can be better at something than someone. However, I think there's a plateau for most things. I think this especially applies to singing. Again, this is my opinion. Call me wrong, explain to me why I'm wrong so that you're not sounding like an idiot. I just said don't sounding like an idiot, so I'm also an idiot. But I feel like there is a plateau. At a certain point, people who sing really well sing the same. they're hitting the notes. That's kind of it. When we're thinking about just singing, it's really just about hitting those right notes, like, right? Again, I'm no expert, I'm no singing coach, but I feel like that's a valid point. So when people say that this artist is really talented, isn't it just he's hitting the right notes? Don't most artists tend to do that? So a lot of people would say that that's not where the talent comes from, or that's only part of where the talent comes from. Another major part of talent comes from subject matter. Again, I think there's sort of a plateau. Now this is super subjective. This is really just my opinion. I think that you could easily argue against it. I'd love to hear you guys do that because I like hearing different arguments. This is off topic, but don't be an asshole. When someone disagrees with you, don't tune them out, la 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 la. Listen to their argument, like, and don't just pretend to. Listen to them. They're a human being. They're entitled to their opinion, even if it's completely wrong. Listen to them talk. Don't be a jerk. Back to the music. Big opinion time. I think that a lot of this is really hard. This is such a subjective thing to talk about, but again, this is my opinion. That's kind of what video essays are for. I feel like there is a plateau with talent as far as subject matter goes. At some point, at least in a broad sense, you're singing about something that someone else has sung about before. Sure, maybe this artist is using different metaphors or symbolism or imagery within their music videos or something, but really what it comes down to is they're making similar music to something someone else has made. I'm not going to pretend like that's specific to this artist that I don't get. On a very general sense, every artist sings about the same stuff. Now again, you could argue that this artist using their specific imagery or music is different and deserves merit. And I think that's true. Again, it's really hard to say this, but I just think that that's how you know someone's about to say some bullshit. I think a lot of the imagery and symbolism and metaphors within music has really already been done. I think that besides like specific, like the exact lyrics, I think that most symbols have been used, most metaphors have been trodden over. Did I just say trodden? Is this 1806? They've been used to death. I don't think that there's really anything super new or super shocking an artist can do at this point. Like, think about really big artists within the past, like, 100 years. That's really broad, but I don't want to be an asshole who's like, music has only been good for the 90s. That's not true. Music has always been cool. Music has always sucked. It's always going to be cool. It's always going to suck. Music is constant. But think about music. To an extent, everything that's considered new gets pretty old pretty quick. And that's the nature of things that are new. When something's new and innovative, it gets used to death because it's new and innovative. That's not a music thing. That's just a general philosophy trend. I'm spending a lot more time on this point than I wanted to. But I do think it's a good point to make, because I don't hear a lot of people say this a lot, but talent is nothing. And what I mean by that is, talent doesn't really factor into why people listen to music, because talent is kind of homogenous. Are you good? Do you get me? If not, I don't know, leave a comment and I will text you. Give me your number, give me your social, give me your shoe size. I think that where things get kind of muddled is where the industry tells you where talent is. This time I do have a segue. That was my segue. Next we're going to talk about the music industry. I don't want to be, again, I don't want to be an asshole who's trying to pretend like I'm the only person who's ever made these points. And I don't want to also be an asshole who thinks and says, oh, the music industry, I didn't do the Patrick Star voice this time because I think it's a valid point. Oh, the music industry is like awful, it ruins music. That's kind of true, but I also think that that's the nature of industry in general. I've used this word twice now. It homogenizes whatever it's the industry of. That's kind of the point. Industry means mass production and targeted marketing, and that's no different for music. That's no different for any art, but we're talking about music. The thing is, when it's art, people, this is opinion, this is not fact. When it's art, it's a consensus that takes away from the art of it. Again, that's consensus. Personally, I believe that's true. And I'm willing to bet a lot of you guys think the same thing. Like I said before, what did I say before? I can't remember. It was something about how art is perceived as this very personal thing, and yeah, because it's like focused on depression and stuff. Art is usually focused on personal, heavy stuff. When you industrialize that, by definition of industry, it sort of saps that personal nature out of it. And again, that's not entirely a bad thing. Without music industry, we wouldn't have a lot of the art that we have today. The industry itself kind of requires innovation. Maybe that's just ingrained capitalism within me, but I think that to an extent, it's true. If you don't innovate within an industry, the industry doesn't really care about you, at least not after a while. There is a specific band led by a specific artist, again, no names, anonymity, anonymity, anemone. It's a very famous band and a very famous person. That person was very famous partly because of their music, but partly because of their philosophy. And their philosophy was that they didn't want to be a part of this machine of the music industry. That's an old school Jude reference. I can't really remember what point I was trying to make. Again, I'm not really trying to make like points in this video. I'm really trying to raise questions and make you guys just think about this. I want to make all 13 of my viewers think. But yeah, industry kind of requires an innovative presence in order for success. And this is a point that everyone since the beginning of the music industry has made, but success is not an indicator of talent. Again, what is talent? It's nothing. And this isn't an original point. This isn't copyright Jude 2021. This is everyone's thesis about art ever. Just because you're successful doesn't mean that you're better at art than a less successful artist. But, and again, ingrained capitalism, maybe, or maybe I'm actually right. It would surprise me if I was actually right. But success does require talent. It just isn't exactly an indicator of talent. That's where the discrepancy is, I think. But I don't think the industry solely requires on talent or presence. I think that another major part of the industry is image. Segue. Again, this is one of those things that a lot of douchebags will say, oh, well, the music industry has gotten so sucky within the past 20 years, like, the only music nowadays is Cardi B rapping about her vagina. Music industry is only about image nowadays and being an asshole. This wasn't the thing in the 90s. Shut the fuck up. That's not true. Even the Beatles were just touted as this fucking boy band from Liverpool. Like, the music industry has always relied on image to sell. The Beatles are just the Backstreet Boys for weird British people. Image is an important part of the music industry, always has been, but I feel like it's just more of something that people bring up nowadays. Again, in my other draft of this video, I mentioned a specific artist. I'm not going to mention them now. I didn't diss on this artist in the last video, so I'm not afraid of like people getting mad at me for dissing the artist. I've kept up the trend with not mentioning artists, so I might as well keep it up. Anyways, this artist is very famous nowadays for their image and their marketing and how they go about presenting themselves, and by extension, their music. Now, I don't really specifically like this artist or agree with their marketing, more so because I agree with the other artists I mentioned. I agree with their philosophy of presenting this false image of yourself sort of takes away from the genuineness of your art. That is a completely subjective opinion that I have. I don't think it applies to every art. It's just my opinion. And I do actually really like other artists who their music is more so based on their image than their image is based on their music. Anyways, back to this other person. So they're really famous for how they market themselves, but it's in a very... it's not in a natural way. They're not marketing themselves as who they were born as. They're marketing themselves as this piece of art. And I think there is merit to that. Do I necessarily agree with that, with how art should be? Maybe not. Maybe I do. I don't know. But I think there's merit to it. I think it definitely requires talent. As someone who's trying to succeed within music or art in general, I can tell you without a doubt, being able to market yourself like 7 times out of 10 is more important than your talent. Again, talent plateaus, but your ability to market yourself, priceless. I have really bad posture. So yeah, image is a huge part of music. And sometimes I do think the image is more important than the music. At least to artists and to the industry, definitely to the industry. How you can market yourself is really what the industry is all about. Again, I said it's about targeted marketing. The industry is built on that. Speaking of image and industry, there was an artist I mentioned last draft specifically who I wasn't hating on. It is just undisputable fact that they are privileged. They were born into the music industry with ties to the music industry. They had all the cards in their favor and they succeeded. They succeeded a lot. Again, their talent, that's subjective. Their image and their ability to market themselves, they're talented at, but it's subjective whether it's legitimate or not. What is undisputable is the fact that they were very privileged, and that's a major part of why they succeeded and why they have the presence that they do. I don't really have a point to make about this because I think it's general consensus that that is unfair and a bad thing. So I'm not going to make a point about it. There's really no point to be made. Speaking of points, I think that's all the ones I have. Again, I'd like to specify that a majority of this video was me speculating. I don't want to make anyone perceive that this video is fact, that I think it's fact. Everything that I stated is an opinion, Everything that I didn't state is an opinion, probably still an opinion. Please do not get mad at me for my opinions. I cannot help them. Again, if you disagree, I would honestly love to hear why. I want to know different viewpoints. That sounds cliche and stupid, but a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people just kind of la, ignore other people's views and wait for them to stop talking to state their own. Don't do that. So yeah, definitely leave a comment if you have any views about stuff I touched on, stuff I didn't touch on that you think is relevant. I'm a super small channel, so anytime anyone comments on my videos, I'm ecstatic. But yeah, thank you so very much for watching. I know this is probably going to be a super long video compared to my other stuff, so if you actually watched till the end, that's awesome. I really appreciate it, 100%. Can't you see how excited I am? But yeah, that's gonna do it for this one. Even though this is a different offering than what I usually put out there, I'm gonna end it the same way. Stay epic.